Hi guys, welcome to another episode of It Was Never Personal with Yummy Wilfred. It was never personal. This is me, your host, Yummy Wilfred. It was never personal. It has always been about love, laughter, music, dance, colors, role playing, balance, awareness, authenticity, not taking the ego too seriously, not taking life personal, honey. It is all about realizing that this is a dream and illusion that you and I get to co create with the power higher than us because we are witches. Yes, indeed. That was from the last episode. It was never personal, by the way. Tune in to get inspired, motivated, and mostly importantly, find ways to love yourself as I do. And do it with laughter and joy as I do. This is nothing new. You won't learn anything new from this, but it may only sound new because we have forgot that which we once knew. So I'm here with this podcast to actually just remind us of that which we once knew but we once now forgot. It's just the remembering of ourselves because, like I said, it was never personal. It was never personal. Yes, it was never personal. It was never ever personal. So in today's episode, the topic is actually just about letting go that identity you have created for yourself, which is actually embodiment or actually amplifying or validating the sense of being a victim. Somebody who's been wronged by things. So without further ado, I'll just start. So what do I mean by victimhood? Victimhood is actually just that identity that we all create for ourselves of us as someone or a little child who is treated unfairly and who is treated badly by life, God, people, or whatever. It's like just blaming anybody for things that are happening in your life. And because it's something that you have really identified with, it is just now you just go on and really it is like your belief system. You believe that you're somebody who is always treated unfairly. The words that those people kind of use is kind of like, bad things always happen to me. I knew that they were going to leave me. I knew that they were not going to call. It's like really amplifying the negativity, whatever, and it's just really staying intact and staying stuck in the victimhood sense of identity. But this has to do with the inner child inside each one of us. And whenever I look at people, I always look at lectures in my class, and I can somehow see that little child. Especially the ones who are, but actually everyone, because we rarely ever change, especially if no, either way you go, you can be this flamboyant or very funny comedy kind of teacher, or you can be this kind of strict, very serious kind of teacher, but still it shows the kind of child, the kind of sense of self you have created for your child. So sometimes I see these little kids in this lectures, or even in my friends, even in myself. I know that in everyone there is that child who is actually in need of help, but because this child by that time, it is said that until we are 7 years we are not actually conscious, we are not really thinking or whatever, but rather we are recording, we are learning through observation. We are in theta, we are hypnotized, so our mind is actually observing the subtle ways in which our parents react to nudity, to sex, to politics, to how we sit, to how you walk, conversations about women, conversations about men. It's like when we are under the age of 7, we are actually observing that as little kids. So, and as we observe, we learn because you know how your mom will react to a picture of nudity, and then you see that frustration and whatever, and then you're like, oh, this is something that I shouldn't be doing. Or maybe if by any chance you're a little child and you were playing with, let's say, or maybe you broke a glass and your mom comes to you and is like, why did you da, da, da?" And they say all these nasty things like, for sure, it's like, to you, because you're a little child, you take it personal. Everything is personalized when we are kids. We personalize everything. It's like, oh my God, my dad doesn't love me. That is why he's divorcing my mom. And oh, my mom doesn't like me. That is why I was really running from one foster house to another foster house. I mean, she abandoned me. People hate me because guess what? They don't want to be around me, or they say this thing. Like, that is what we say as little kids. That is the actually what we are recording as we interact with people. So it's very, very, very personalized. We take everything literal. I think I said that too fast, so I might have to really go back and say it again. We take everything personal as little kids. We actually personalize everything. We take life too seriously. You know, it's everything. When your mom comes to and maybe you're running to your mom and you're like, Mom, pick me up, and your mom doesn't want to pick you up. It's like, oh my gosh, she hates me. When you're like, oh, my friends, I want to play with y'all. Come over to my house. I want to play with y'all. Or can I come to your house and play with you? And your friends are like, no. And you're like, they hate me. But like I said, nothing is ever personal. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So whatever negativity that was done upon you, whatever bad thing that was done upon you as a child, it had nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with that person. And please don't confuse the manifestation of that unconsciousness or the manifestation of that negativity, that craziness, whatever they did to you to be who they are. No, it isn't who they are. If anything, like I said, it shows that they have those parts of them, their personality, which need healing. I mean, right now, you have that key, you have that tool, you have that power. Knowledge is power. And with great power comes great responsibility. Because now that you know that whenever you interact with another person, first of all, you don't take it personal. And second of all, you don't confuse or really use that activity, that craziness, and say, this is who they are. You actually view them with compassion and say, I feel for them. You become kind. You connect because you realize that we are actually one. One of us are just it. It's just we are one. We are one thing. One of us is just here. You know. So you view them with compassion, love, and from that you are able to forgive them because you realize that first of all, there's nothing to forgive. You know. Second of all, they did not know what they were doing because they were unconscious. So it is right now our responsibility to take care of that inner child who has personalized everything and created an identity around what had happened for um with them at that age, at a younger age. For example, I had this what do I call it? I had this pattern, yes. I had this pattern where I moved from one boy to another boy to another boy to another boy. I was always the chaser in relationships. I was chasing boys who actually didn't actually love me. It didn't, yeah, like they were not really emotionally available. They were kind, everything. They were sweethearts, but they never could actually be emotionally vulnerable with me. It's like, okay, we can do everything well. We can dance, we can eat together, we can, we can have sleepovers, but I'm not going to be able to open my heart and give you this. I'm not going to be able to show you my flaws or anything. I'm sorry, that is not what I'm going to do. I'm not really emotionally available for you. And it was until recently, maybe the past maybe 4 or 5 months ago, that I realized that actually this is an identity that I've created for myself, because my victimhood story went like this: you are unworthy of love, you are unloved, you are undeserving of love, and you are not enough to be loved. So you have to do something to actually be enough. You have to actually fight for that because you are not loved. So then I use some things like maybe academic excellence, or maybe that trait of being a good boy, where I do whatever that my parents want me to do, doing what society wants me to do, so that I can be loved. Because if I do what they want me to do, they'll say, oh yeah, you fit the story of a good kid, we love you. You get it? So I had to actually live it, but it's still over here right now. So For example, like I said, mine was really moving from one relationship to one relationship, even pleasing other people, pleasing my parents, pleasing teachers, and a lot of stuff like that. But there's this other girl who's actually addicted to what we call abusive relationships, and she can't stop it. And I'm telling you, this girl is actually it's a lady. She has like four kids by this time, four different fathers. She is a grown lady. I think she's right around maybe 31, 29, somewhere over there. I don't know. And it's, I don't know. I don't think she actually hit her certain return. So she's probably not 28. But this girl is actually moving from one relationship to the next. And each relationship, just like my relationships, all of them were emotionally bare. They were emotionally unavailable. But with her, it's abusive. And it's very, very, very ugly. Like, I'm not talking about slaps and whatever. I'm talking about knives, honey. That's scratching her out. And it's so sad because looking at her, I go, this is not about it's her sense of self, the sense of self she has created around herself as that girl who is unworthy of love. It all goes back to there, in whatever. It's like another instance is it's an instance whereby a child is really taken from an abusive home or their parents who are abusive, and they are really transferred to this very healthy, joyful environment. And with time going on, as time goes on, the child would really long to go back home, you know. And going back home, I mean to the abusive parents, to the abusive environment, because that is what they believe is them. Like they really need it. It's the same story with what with a person who's addicted to drugs, with a person who's addicted to alcohol. As immediately when they enter rehab, usually under like someone intervening or some family members who really are not really facing them with compassion, but is like on the surface is like they're compassionate and they love them, but really underneath is like you have to do this because people are really looking at us like what, people are judging us and it's because of you. So it's like we have to fix you because you are broken. So they don't really actually care for you, they care for what people think about them because of you. So then they get you into the rehab, and those guys who are addicted to drugs and alcohol, if any addiction actually, when they enter into rehab, maybe the first week okay, even though they're pulling with very long teeth, over the course of time they would really relapse or actually escape from the rehab to actually get that drug or alcohol or anything that they use to actually cope with the emotional or whatever, the overwhelming they feel, and it's so 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 painful, but yet we go back to it, yeah. And I've been in this 12-step program. I feel lucky because right now it's like my body is actually ready and my mind is ready. By my mind, I mean my thoughts are aligned, because before I've tried to actually, I've noticed the pattern since I was like, I think 12 years. When I was 12, I remember walking over to my cousin's place in Rabani and I was like, Fred, this has happened like one, two, three. And then it was until I was 20 that I just actually said, oh, guess I have to really work this shit out. I have to really clear off the debris. So each one of us has that identity that we create as ourselves, as those people who don't deserve love or whatever, like really that victimhood kind of sense of self. But it was never personal. It was never personal. Yeah, but it was never personal. So we actually have to let go of that. But this is the thing, because we have identified with that victimhood era, with that idea of ourselves, or let me say this, yeah, we have identified with that idea of ourselves as people who are unworthy of love, who are undeserving of love, who are unloved. because that is our identity, that is who we think we are. Our ego, our mind made self would actually try to recreate situations that actually verify or validate that sense of self. For example, in my case, because I was really actually saying, um I'm unloved, I'm unworthy, and whatever, I actually ran towards situations, or I recreated situations where I felt unloved. It's like I see a guy and I'm like, oh, hi. Yes, I think I like you. And I like you because I know that you won't love me back. So this guy who's emotionally unavailable, I would really chase them and I will pursue them, even though I see the little signs and everything. I want them, you know, I would chase them to a point where by now, maybe I've spent months with this guy, and somehow I get to say, oh my God, you hurt me. You hurt me so bad. I don't like you. Why are you doing this to me? You hurt me because I'm giving you this, but you're not giving me back that thing. You know? It's like, why am I pouring out this kindness, this love, but you're not reciprocating it? Oh, guess what, honey? Because actually, they didn't do anything. I just chased them because I was like, oh, that one is going to be able to validate my sense of self, my idea as a little boy who's unworthy of love. So to validate it, I have to actually get into that situation with someone who is emotionally unavailable. So it was really it's a pattern, just like this girl that I talked about. From one relationship, she gets to the next, and each relationship validates that kind of thing. Even with any you recreate it. Even with me right now, like during the process of the therapy, I learned that one thing that I have to do is that each time, because right now I'm not actually running after boys or whoever, I'm not really seeking for approval from teachers or my parents but then my ego, because it's still identified to that, it will still recreate some situations. Okay, the boyfriends won't work because I want to do, okay, it will really search for something else. So it's in any situation, like if somebody gets here and they say something, like this other day I had my makeup on, and this other guy who I thought was my friend, actually, I guess now that he's of you, but anyways, who I thought was my friend and whatever, it's so painful how we as a collective are actually just so back. We are zombies, by the way, we haven't we haven't really moved along civilization. It's like we are still stuck in that era, the dark ages. But anyways, this guy comes to me and he's like, "Oh yeah, well, Fred, in he's really talking about. He's like, why are you applying lipstick? Saying it in that kind of sense, the negativity and whatever." And I felt it, and my ego was like, it loved it. It fed into it because it validated that sense of identity as of itself as actually of itself as a little boy who's unloved. And that boy, because he said something negative to my ego, is like, oh, he hates you. Say, So then it's like, and immediately I went and I go, oh, in each situation I have to go, oh, okay, I know that it's not personal, but how am I feeling? Oh, I know that right now I feel sad because I'm like, why would somebody do like that who I thought was my friend? But why do I feel sad? I feel sad because, oh, okay, he said it and he's my friend. But okay, he's my friend, so what does that have to do with me feeling sad? Oh, he's my friend, so I expected him to actually really come along and really love what I'm doing and really say, "Oh yeah, I love your face," just like other people. But but he didn't do that. But rather he said, "Oh, I don't like what you're doing." Because he judged me. Then my ego says, "Oh, I love it." But I know that, you know, I have to really take at the end of it is like it validates that sense of identity of myself as a little boy who's unloved. But because I'm really conscious at that point. I'm aware. I go to my feelings. I go, oh, how am I feeling? Okay, this is what I thought. Oh, okay. But remember, Wilfred, it was never personal. And I have to release that guy. I have to pray. God, really, I release him. My resentment towards him, my judgments of him, I release them. And I just invite love, abundance, joy, and peace unto him, you know. And I forgive him. That's it. It's just that. But it's always easier said than done. And for me, it's kind of like easy because I've been doing this for like years. But still, whenever I'm doing it, I have those kind of degrees. Sometimes it's easier, like it's a snap, but sometimes it takes a day, 2 days, a week. Yeah. But it all takes practice because with practice, we can be better. Yeah. Now, let's talk about why actually we are identified to that sense of self or that victimhood, or actually why people are not willing to let go. Why that girl is actually moving on and staying, because the thing is that even though she's abused, cut, whatever, even though the person who's on drugs, they get to really be sick, thin, unhealthy, depressed, why are they still stuck with it? Why are they still there? Why are they still recreating that situation? Well, there's always a payoff in anything. With us humans, we actually do, or the ego actually does everything because there's a payoff. It's like, okay, I'm doing one because I want to. It's like what I said with those guys. I love them and then I expect them to love me back. I give you 10 pula, so next time when I say, can you borrow me 10 pula, you have to borrow me, because I did something to, because it was my birthday, and because it was your birthday, and I gifted you a something. I expect that, my ego expects that on my birthday, you have to do the same. It's like there's a payoff, there's a reward, there's something that I'm going to get from this. That is how it works with the ego. The same is the same mechanism works with the victimhood sense of self. Because the payoff is that it allows for a multitude of sins. For example, complaining. We know all of those. Like in school, a lot of kids really have created this sense of identity for themselves as people who are stupid, who are dumb, who are not intelligent, who are not smart, who are just deserving of the little things in life. And guess what? Teachers will always validate that sense of self because they get their papers, they mark, and then somebody gets maybe 1/100, and it's like, oh, you're so stupid. And that little child, that student, is actually, their ego is like, oh, yes, that is it. That is what I need. So they recreate it. And actually, sometimes to really recreate situations that validate that sense of self as for them as that person who is actually unsmart, and people who are unsmart are actually like the same thing as unloved. Students as such get to really behave in dysfunctional ways whereby they become so disrespectful, they break the rules. It's like, okay, we're going to just scream, we're just gonna do, if school says do one, I'm going to do 99, honey, I'm gonna do it 69, like 369. If you say I should do it 20, I'm just gonna do it my own way. That's a way of actually creating a situation where they are attacked and brought down to validate their sense of self as a little child who is unloved because they are unsmart, or they are unintelligent. Not because it's the truth that they are unintelligent, but because that is what they believe for themselves. So why bother reading? And they always complain, these guys. Oh, no, 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 and again, the payoff that we get, or the ego gets, is it gets to actually allow us or it to play small. Because the thing is that we are an extension of the power that created the entire universe. We have a higher self. But with our ego, we actually being the small self, we play small. It's like that I don't deserve that. Like, oh my God, how can I get 100%? Oh my God, how can I get a 4 point? How can I go to university? To be the one who goes to university in my family. How can I be a doctor? How can I be a lawyer? How can I be a teacher? Like, I cannot afford that. That is you playing small. How can he love me? Oh my God, how can he marry me? How can I have a baby? How can I have a house? How can I have a car? I don't deserve that. How can I have clothes? Oh my God, how can I do, like, you don't believe that the good things are can happen to you because, and you not believing it, it really allows you to play small. Like, you won't be even participate in, you won't even strive, you won't even work hard, you won't even put anything, you won't be passionate, you just would be um um what is it? I don't know, but you would just be something. I don't know. Yeah. So you just play small. And actually, the other thing is that it allows us to stay stuck with the belief system. Like I said, that kid who believes that I'm smart or they are not intelligent, that student, because they have that sense of victimhood, they will stay stuck within that belief system of, I am not intelligent, Wilfred is the one who's intelligent, so I'm just going to stay here. And like I said, they will play small, they won't even read, they won't do anything, they will be like lazy. That's like their character, because they don't want to, like, they don't think that is really fun. But still, even though they were lazy and whatever, they will complain. Oh, this teacher doesn't teach. This teacher is favoring Wilfred. Oh, this teacher is doing this. Oh, life is always unfair to me. Oh my God, God, why does God hate me? People hate me. Do you remember the day that teacher came onto this class and say that I'm the one who's always making noise, even though I was quiet that day? You know, it's very crazy. It's crazy because that's just validating the sense of identity that they have created for themselves. It was personal. It was never personal. Now, what do we get to actually do in order to try and move forward? First of all, realize that it was never personal. So, whatever that you have really, what happened to you, like I said, has nothing to do with you, has everything to do with them. And realize the truth that you are an extension of the power that created the entire universe. You are God. Take it, run with it, play with it. You are really abundant. And because you're an extension of the power of love, you are love. You are one with love. Not only are you love, you are loved, you are enough to be loved, you are deserving of love, and I love you. You know, I loves I. You are just that, realize it. This is not something, this is not rocket science, guys. It's just believe it. Sometimes, yes, we have to fake it till we make it, but if you really hate yourself, fake it till you make it. But if you know that somehow deep inside you still love yourself, but you really felt like it's bad for you to love yourself because of how people have been treating you, go back and love yourself, because you are love. And you loving yourself, actually, you are loving other people. Give out love, because what you give is what you'll get. That's a resonance. That's resonance, honey. It's just that. That's the third law of motion. It's just that you are love. You are loved. You are worthy of love. You are deserving of love. You are enough to be loved. You see this line that I'm telling you? This is what I had said for the first 2 months of my program. I was actually saying those things out loud to myself each morning, during the day, whenever, like, it was my mantra, my meditation, my word to go to. In my prayer before I go to sleep, I would say those ones to myself, because I have to reassure and nurture my inner child who had somehow felt unloved, undeserving of love, unworthy of love, not enough to be loved because of what was happening right then, when he was just observing, when he was just not conscious, when he was just there really looking at how people were treating him, the negativity, and he personalized it. He said, oh my gosh, they hate me. I am wrong. Something is wrong about me, you know? And right now, because I am older, I have the knowledge, I have what, and I'm conscious, my conscious mind is working, I can actually reprogram my subconscious, and reassure and nurture that child with love, laughter, dance, music, you know, anything that is of a high vibration, because I am that of a higher self, you know. But, anyways, the first thing you have to do is to clear off the debris, because, like I said, you are already love and you are one with it. Now, to actually clear off the debris means this, because, like I said, you are already loved, you are already loved, like you're already abundant, you are perfect, you are even beyond perfect. Like I said, you are an extension of the power that created the entire universe. So you have no wrong, you're not broken, you know. But if anything, you have to now crew what word do I want? You have to clear the path for that light to come and shine through you. You have to clear the way. You have to clean off the debris. And by the debris, I mean the behaviors which validate that sense of identity of yourself as a little child, who you can feel it for yourself, because that's you. We are all unique, you know. So you have to actually say, okay, I know, I see the pattern. I see this happening. I see my neediness over there. I see my need of validation over there. I see this is what I'm creating, and I've been doing it like this. That is my behavior. I see what I'm addicted to. I see what I do whenever I feel heavy emotions. I see what I do. Like, you see those behaviors, and you try and not engage into them, which is going to be hard, by the way, but you have to be willing. The next thing is actually to ask yourself, am I willing to do this? Like I said, when I was 18 years old, I felt, you know, I felt it. My body actually was like, um, let's do this. Let's stop it, Wilfred. Stop. You have to stop. I felt it. My body was ready. But my mind, my perception, my thought system, my belief system wasn't really aligned with my body. So, although I felt ready to actually detach from my victimhood era, I stayed because my mind, my thought system, which is actually the creator, the chemistry alchemist of my body, was not really aligned with it. So it was until when I was 19 years old that my thought system was actually aligned with the body's belief system, which said, actually, Wilfred, now you realize that you are operating from a fear based belief system. You have to choose a belief system that is infused with love. Love thyself, know thyself, and love who you are, because you are worth it, you know. And these two, the mind and the body, are one. These things are one. So from there, at 19, I became 20 years old. And when I was 20 years old, it was so easy for me to do it. And actually getting to realign my mind, my thought system, my belief system with my body, I used a lot of self help reading. I did a lot of books. I did I watched things. I became one with that vibration. I had to really go deep into it and really access my higher self. By that, I was able to die and be reborn again, but now into my higher self. Because when I die to my small self or my old self, and I get to be reborn into my new self, the higher self. That's just that, you know. And it's fine. It's fine. You have to just be willing to do it. It will take time, but it's going to be painful, by the way. Don't think this is easy. No, 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 no. This is not easy. It's painful because, first of all, you have to be present. You have to be really right now here. You have to really actually connect to the spirit. You have to connect to your inner child. And your inner child, by the moment you really connect to him, my friend the other day sent me this other reel, which was saying of how people are just addicted to hurrying. Like, talk conversations are so short. Coffee is like so short. Even if we eat, we are eating, we're talking. But let me say it how I think. Again, I can add to it. I'll paraphrase. Like right now, we live in a society, in a civilization where we get to eat lunch, and while eating we are talking to each other, and while talking to each other we are on our phones, and while we are on our phones we are thinking. It's like really it's different, because and this is like we are trying to really still time away from actually, or we are trying to get the attention, our focus away from the present moment, from what is actually happening. It's like, okay, if I eat this food because I have to, but the thing is that if you eat food or whatever you're doing, you are cleaning your whatever, you have to pay attention to it. But because you know that if you pay attention to it, it will bring you down to this moment. You have to really incorporate something. Okay, I'm going to eat and talk at the same time. But if I talk and eat at the same time, there's still some level of attention that can seep into this present moment. So then I have to eat and talk at the same time and still be onto my phone while my friend is talking to me. So my mind is so way too busy, is so occupied, that I'm not really focusing on this present moment. Because if I do focus on this present moment, I will feel the pain that my inner child has. I will feel the pain, the burden of this illusion. I will feel it because, oh my God, it's so heavy. But sitting down with yourself is actually self love. Getting maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, 30 seconds to go there and say, you know what, I'm just going to be conscious of the way that I'm breathing and really feel how I feel right now. It's self love. But like I said, doing that because it brings you down into this present moment, and you are aware that you are the awareness of what is happening. And because you have not been aware of what is happening, you've been really hallucinating. Rather, you've been really doing other things, but now because you are aware, you would see it with x-ray eyes. And with x-ray eyes, you no longer really perceive life from the surface, but you go deep down and you are able to see the pain, the the nastiness, the negativity, the whatever, the pain that your inner child has, the pain that runs this system, the pain that is infused in everything that you've been saying, oh, this is normal to do. And because if you see that, your spirit will really um urge you, or it will make you see how imperative it is for you to actually change your life. Most of us are not really actually now willing to sit down and actually take time to be one with life, to be one with this present moment, to be one with ourselves, to be that awareness of what is happening. We are therefore now playing small. It all goes back to being victims. We are not willing to do that, because when you do it, you will realize how much pain you are in. But there's no way out. It's either you walk through the fire, or you still um eat dinner, talk to someone while eating dinner. But as if that is not enough, add your phone, add phone into the mix. So you're actually scrolling through TikTok while you are talking to someone, while you are eating your meal. And as if that is not enough, you're commenting on in social media, and you're still thinking at the same time, and a lot of things are happening. Because to actually be present, you have to walk through the fire first. There's no other way around. But, anyways, examine areas of your life where you are tainted with that idea of yourself as a little child who is unloved, is unworthy of love, whatever story that goes. But another key point is to let go of that mentality of yourself as a little child who, um, that is what I had for you guys. And to just live it, I'll say this. There's this is the only way for us to move forward. Had I not actually left that victimhood era that I had, I would not be able to really sit down in this podcast and say things. I would not be this joyful person that I am. I will not be this positive person that I am. I mean, I think maybe a lot of people really think that I'm 100% positive, but that's not it. I'm I'm sad, I'm happy, I am up, I'm down, I am sideways, I am dark, I'm light, but my choice is that, I'm everything and nothing at all, but I always make sure that I focus and I stay on the light side of things. I'm aware of the darkness, I'm aware of everything, but I choose love. And because my pain, my points, whenever I feel pain, I know that I have to actually go back to the drawing board, go back to the belief system and really work. I grow to be this joyful person, but it is the only way in which I can move forward. And the same applies to you. This is the only way you can move forward. You can reprogram your subconscious mind, which has a lot of fear based belief systems about not only itself but about other people, because it actually got it from observing other people. You can actually reprogram it and become somebody that you are. Because the thing is that you're already whatever that you want to be. You're already happy, you're already joyful, you're already loved. You just have to recognize it. You have to realize it. You have to rediscover it. It's not like it's a new discovery, it's a rediscovery, it's a recognition, because you already have it. But to find it, you have to be willing to actually let go of the debris. You have to be willing to let go of that idea of yourself as a little child who's unloved. You have to actually love yourself, and you can start right now by just being present in this moment. Do things one at a time, and focus on your joy. Focus on the joy. You know, you can you can look at the crucifixion, but let your focus be on the resurrection. That is me quoting um Every Ten to Love by Marianne Williamson. And by that, I leave you with I love you. And remember that it was never personal. Bye.